Alright, Smastian here, playing the T110E5 on the map Sand River. It's an encounter battle game mode, and we are spawning together with the rest of the team because there are no artillery in play, and for some reason it didn't throw any of us onto the secondary spawn zone. But no matter. Given the way the game has started out, we expect to be going... Well, the place where we want to get to is roughly C7, C7D7, in order to try to get some early shots on anyone crossing A6, and basically get stuck in. Most of the team, on the enemy side and on our own side, are going to be essentially heading for this area. Very few people are expected to go south, except save perhaps the medium tanks. And, the occasional person going up to A0, all that sort of lovely nonsense. So, we get ourselves into position. We try to get a line of fire on the IS-7, but we realize quite quickly that that would not be possible. We take a speculative shot at the 183, and bounce his return AP shell. And now what we're going to do is we're tentatively snapshotting a weak spot on the Kranwagen. And it manages to make it in. Like, the weak spot is tiny, and we knew we were taking a speculative shot, and we tried it again, and we were really lucky to get it in the first time. No matter. We continue using this position, trying to be as hull down as possible, exposing as little of our tank as we can, so that we can avoid the following, which is try to take a shot at the lower plate, hope to damage the E100's gun, and he manages to get a fairly lucky shot into our commander's cupola. The E100 is somewhat notorious for having a really inaccurate gun, but, well, his shot lands where it needed to, and that's all there is to say. So we notice that the IS-7 has exposed himself a little bit too much, and so we retask from the E100 over to the IS-7. Mouse is available as a target, and we're just loading gold at these folk. Their armor is too strong for us to be worrying with AP ammo. Though we do waste a bit of a shot into the E100 here. The side of his turret is perfectly capable of being penned by our AP ammo. We receive a hit from the 183, and fairly luckily, we don't take any damage from the Object 268. FV215B has exposed himself a bit too much, but our shot doesn't manage to go in. We're reloading another high-explosive anti-tank round, and sooner or later, we're going to figure out, yeah, it's about here. We get the tracking shot in the Kranvan. However, he manages to return a shot into us, and we still put another shot into the U-100. It hits his gun mantlet rather than his really weak cheek armor. But the second shot does manage to go in, and we notice that a lot of our boys are pulling back, and despite my desire to want to help the team at least stabilize this flank a little bit more, I quite strongly need to get myself out of the line of fire and try to establish a bit more of a support sniping position. However, I waffle for a bit on this sand dune here, thinking maybe I can get my gun depression down far enough, but I notice that it wouldn't be possible. I'd be exposing too much of my hull. So I fall back. I keep falling back. And I consider rounding this sand dune in order to pick up the low-health E100. I notice a lot of people are pulling back, but I figure I can maybe make this flank work a bit. But the E100 gets picked up by someone else, and we no longer feel as adventurous as we did before. So we're still waffling about, waiting for the situation to develop and maybe putting ourselves into a location where we can be more effective. So far, that is not the case. We just move up to a different angle of the sand dune, hoping to get some flanking shots if we expose our turret. If 183 gets spotted, at some point he fired. I don't know when it was. But he wasn't paying attention to me, so I took a speculative shot at the IS-7, and someone else managed to pick up the kill. Specifically the 705A, over to my right. I consider putting a shot into the mouse, but I think the 183 or the Object 268 will be wise to my antics now, and I decide to let it go. I noticed that the cap timer has started in the enemy's favor, and we have about 4 minutes to reset the cap. But we're not exactly too worried about that, and we're considering maybe getting some flanking shots into this mouse. We saw the Crown Von earlier moving away from his former position, but then he shows up right in front of us. His first shot bounces off of our side hull, and now it's a bit difficult to explain what's going on here without actually being in third-person mode. But what I'm essentially doing is I'm reversing, and just before he fires his next shot, I'm moving forward, because I'm expecting him to be firing at either my front upper plate or my lower plate. And so as I reverse, he's probably aiming in at the lower plate, and just before he fires, and I'm relying a lot on intuition here for how long it takes a Kronvon to reload. I've been hit by that thing enough times to get a rough estimate of how long it takes it to, since it's an autoloader, how long it takes it to dump all of its shells out. And it's something like a 3-second window between shells. And so, this is where I move forward, and essentially I skew his shot. I once again reverse, and move forward just as he fires his next one, once again skewing his shot and blocking damage. I think, okay, he's probably moving back, but then I notice, oh crap, he's looking at me again, and I'm quite lucky to be alive in this situation. I over-angled my side armor, and he was able to get a shot into me, knocking out my engine, starting a fire, but fortunately my automatic fire extinguisher kicked in, and all in all, 20,000 credits well spent. So, I'm now getting away from him, despite the fact that he dumped all 4 of his shells into me, or at me anyway. I'm trying to go unspotted. I still see that, he's speculatively guarding the line of fire he had previously, preventing me from moving out of the location in which I currently am. But he decides, okay, screw it, he's going to go try to defeat the Object 268 version 4, or something to that effect. The T110-183, or the T110E5, fired a high explosive shell in my direction, and fortunately it missed, and I assume it was a blind fire, because there's no way I was still spotted by the Kronvon at that point. So, good intuition on his part, but he was just a couple seconds off the mark. So, this Foch B has gone over the hill, and I'm choosing to put some shots into him because, well, if he's an available target, he's out of my view range, I might as well take some shots at him. E3 is similarly an available target. I take a blind shot. I don't think it went in. And we choose to move up a little in order to assist the 268 version 4 because, we predicted that the 215B would be moving in on him. But 277 is the first available target. We don't want to put ourselves in front of the guns of multiple targets. So we shoot at the 277 because he's out of our view range, or we're out of his view range, but he's still spotted within our firing range. Or target acquisition range, whatever you want to call it. And we continue moving forward. And we want to put some side shots into the 215 or FV215B. We get a shot at his side, however it only takes off his track. Unfortunate. We bounce a shot from him. He was likely aiming at our cupola, but he hit something else. Again, we try to take a side shot. That one misses. We thought he would stay in position, but he didn't. And he decides to go around the 268 version 4. We managed to put a shot into him. 268 version 4 dumps another shot, and we leave it to the 215B, or the 183, in order to pick up the kill. 277 was interested in us. We were aware of that. So we kept our hull as hidden as possible, moved back and forth a little bit, try to skew his shot on our cupola. And we move up to a different position in order to potentially flank the 277, go unspotted here since we were spotted, and maybe put some flanking shots into the E3 if they become available, which they do. But, well, we miss his lower plate. However, he exposes his side to someone else, misses the shot on us, and, well, we try to track him, but it bounces off his side armor instead. Whatever. We look for a shot at the 277, it didn't make itself available. We're looking at the E3, wondering if he's going to go over the dune. And, well, he exposes his side to us. That shot misses, despite the fact that it was largely on target. And we're looking for the second shot in. We see we have it, and we pick up the kill. And that's about it for my contribution to this game so far. Now it's just a mop-up operation for the Grill 15 and the 268 version 4, as well as the Jagdpanzer 3100. And so with that, we'll move on to the end plates. Nothing much to say. FE2... Actually, no, we'll take a look at the FE4005. Because he gets a high explosive or HESH shot off, goes down a hill, takes a shot from the Jagdpanzer 100, and somehow manages to flip and roll without dying, at which point the Grill 15 picks him up, and everyone has a good laugh. So on to the end plates. Alright, so taking a look at the end plates, we notice we got a steel wall medal for bouncing 4,570 points of damage off our tank. We didn't get a high caliber. In order to get a high caliber in tier 10 games, you need to do something like upwards of 5,500 damage, at least. We did, however, manage to get 4,800 points of damage done and 1 kill, nothing really to write home about. But the important thing is that we managed to get a lot of this damage while being on extremely low health, thus granting us the Spartan medal for, I think it's bouncing damage while still on, well, underneath 10% of your total hit points. And we got a Confederate medal for assisting in damaging 6 vehicles and helping our allies pick up the kills on them. Taking a quick look at the team, how did they do? Our FV4005 managed to shoot his gun 4 times. Congratulations to him, and the Jagdpanzer shot his gun 3 times, as well as the Grill 15, who shot maybe 4 times. And I kid a little bit. They probably were firing way more than that. But they did good damage, but they're vehicles you expect to do good damage. On the enemy team, the 183 did really well, as well as the Kronvon. But we were in the right places at the right time to essentially either deter enemies from pushing up, or trading damage with them effectively, or just being a good support sniper that entire time. Both teams played well. You can't really fault anyone for... Well, you can fault maybe the bottom 5 players in each team for not really pulling their weight. Or bottom 6 in my team's case. Essentially, if you're not doing your tank's HP in damage at tier 10, you're a major contribution to a potential loss. If you're unable to at least trade equivalently with the enemy team, you are actively impairing your team's ability to secure a victory. But, well, you get unlucky. Sometimes you put yourself in a bad position, or in a lot of cases, you might just not know the ins and outs of a map and where your tank is good to be played. But no matter. Rambling aside, we'll take a quick look at how much money I didn't manage to make, which I lost 30,000 credits on that match, despite it being a ×2 victory, because of how much gold ammo, or premium ammo, I had to use in order to punch through the heaviest armor on enemy tanks. At tier 10, you sort of have to expect that outcome. We did, however, manage to get ourselves a total of 17 bonds, 13 earned for the battle, and 4 from rewards. And overall, that's about all there is to say. The T110E5 is, as always, a fairly surprising vehicle in the meta in that it can still do well, it has a fairly accurate gun, and it is just an all-round jack-of-all-trades sort of tank. So I highly recommend that others try to pick it up as a sort of first training wheel vehicle. And so yeah, having said all that, leave a like, leave a comment, leave a subscription. Let us know how I'm doing, and whether or not you would like to see me do a tank review on a specific tank or something to that effect. Um, Interact with us. All things said, have a good day, and I'll see you in other rounds.